The one in South Philly that I can read.
Yeah, and then I'll come to the other way.
I was there, my the head of the board. Who am I trying to think? No. Head of, my God.
We're in regular, and then I think we'll move a couple down at halftime.
Okay. Very good.
I'm going to make sure my phone is
All right, it is 6:30. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This is a meeting of the school board for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business. It is not to be considered a public community meeting. Public comments are limited to items on the agenda, and there will be a time for public participation as indicated by agenda item number 5. The board receives agenda item information and rationale for administrative recommendations for their thorough review before each meeting. We do not have any media present tonight, so we're going to go right ahead and jump into headliners. We don't have Student of the Month since we just started school. So we've got a few things for headliners tonight. This is great news from around the district. You want to keep your eye out for young people donating community service in our communities. The football teams and managers from Whitko have been out and about donating their time and muscle to tackle projects for those in need. These efforts are much appreciated and even caught the attention of News Channel 21, which featured a story about our Wildcats and their giving ways. If you are in the mood to reminisce, you are in luck. Whitko's yearbooks are now available online for free and covers years 1972 through 2013, and you can find those by going to the alumni page, Whitko alumni page. A huge shout out of congratulations to all of our students that participated in the local county fairs and the state fair for a job well done. Whitko boasts multiple winners in both livestock and non-livestock projects. These kids worked hard and achieved success due to the time and effort that they dedicated to their projects. 3.0 is reports, principal and director reports. I'm going to start tonight with Pearson Elementary's principal, Miss Christy Hoppert.
Good evening. I'm a little out of practice. It's been a little while. I just want to congratulate all our new staff. They've done an awesome job onboarding, and school started well, and positive energy in the building, and things are really taking shape. So we're glad to be going. On back to school night, we had 252 students attend with one or more adults, so we had a really good turnout. On the 30th is picture day, so that's something to highlight. PTO meeting, our first one of the year, is Wednesday, September 11th. Our leadership is kicking off or working on a challenge, a book reading challenge through ARC, and this will be on September 19th from 5 to 6:30. So it's a home reading program that we're trying to get kids excited about reading at home and kind of helping parents understand a little bit more about our reading program. Fall fundraiser kickoff is September 16th through the 27th. We'll be offering popcorn, holiday items, so students can be bugging everybody for ordering. And then the last thing is International Dot Day. That's September 16th, and that's organized by Maddie Moss and Stephanie Henson, and just a lot of activities with that picture book related to dots, and there'll be a big picture on the playground at the end. So that's my quick summary.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. From South Whitley Elementary, Mr. Joel Halsapple.
So good evening. I want to highlight that our staff is working at our procedures and expectations. We're teaching those, practicing those with students and staff daily, reteaching if we need to. Schedules are being introduced and followed, and we're working hard to introduce and implement our positive behavior interventions and support. This is a time where we as a staff have determined that we want to improve specific areas of our school and what we want them to look like and sound like. We then teach the students those behaviors, and we have them practice. And one of the fun parts of this is that when students are doing what they're supposed to be doing, what I handed you is we give the students these, and teachers have some autonomy in what they want to do in their classroom. They might earn a chance to sit on a special chair. They might earn eating lunch with their teacher in the classroom. And then the office also, to encourage use of this, has drawings like eating lunch with a principal. I know it's hard to believe that that's a big deal, and the kids like to do that. And then we're also going to try to encourage our teachers to pass these out. And again, it's recognizing what our students are doing well. I'm going to have a little drawing, so the teacher that passes this out is going to earn something. Not exactly sure what that is, but the teachers will earn that. So part of they're called the Wildcat Way because we want to embody everything it means to be a wildcat. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. From Whitko Career Academy, Mr. Chris Benedict.
Good evening, welcome back. Happy to be here for another exciting year. We have at the WCA all of our programs again going through safety training with your OSHA training, getting all that taken care of first before we turn them loose in the labs. Our construction trades program will be working this year with Giving Gardens to do renovations for a manufactured trailer. That project will begin in early September. We're proud to announce we got 52 seniors that are in work-based learning and capstone experiences outside of the school day, or during the school day, and outside in-field experiences. That's about 61% of our seniors. So they're out and about tying those pathway and all those things that they've done here at the academy to their jobs. So also excited to announce that we have a $100,000 grant from the Whitley County Community Foundation. That is a gift grant for us to spend however we would like to spend that. We have done that we have been able to purchase 5 new multitask welders that can do all 3 different types of welds through that one machine. We have 5 of those that we have ordered and getting ready to get those hooked up. And then we have also submitted the remainder of our plans to the foundation of what we're going to use those. We're going to try to upgrade some stuff in culinary arts, and then also some senior projects with kids that are in pathway with the posters that you kind of see in the one hallway, tying what they're doing with their poster and kind of let that be a kind of a recruiting tool for other students to getting into certain programs. Finally, we have utilized the remainder of our cybersecurity grant from Whitley County EDC. We opened up a certification center here this fall, which all of our kids can do their certification test online here at our place and not have to go somewhere else to get that accomplished. And then finally, this morning our teachers started their ASK program training again. This is the second full year that we have done this, the third year that we've kind of implemented, but the second full year that we've gotten through that. So that's our 8th graders and freshman teachers, along with our 7th grade teachers that will be helping students kind of navigate their C3s, which is their college and career conversations, how to navigate their ebook, which will have their 4-year plan kind of outlined for them, and then hot links that are in that ebook for parents to be able to get to 21st Century Scholars, whatever it may be that they want to kind of research. That's all kind of hot linked in that book for them to help them kind of plan their path for the next 4 years. Okay. Any questions?
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
From the junior senior high, Mrs. Jody Clark.
Good evening. Just wanted to let you know we had a great back-to-school night as well. We had 15% more attending this year than we did last year, which was great to see. You know, I wasn't there, of course, but our staff said that, you know, that it was great to see all those kids coming back, and especially our new 7th graders. We had a great start to the year with our staff as well. I appreciate the fact that our new staff, we had an extra day of staff orientation. I think that was much needed, and they appreciate it. Excuse me. So once we got going with our staff meeting, we started off with a lot of fun. We did a scavenger photo hunt around the building, and I will have to share those pictures with you guys because the staff had a lot of fun. It was good for our new staff because we had 5 new staff this year. We've had a few location changes in the building, so if you come in, you might see a few things. Our AD office, now that the Life Skills has moved out to here, the Career Center, we have moved our athletic office down to the room next to that because they have a lot of storage space just kind of all over the building, so now they'll be able to put it in one location, and Barry will be able to have his assistant in there with him. So his office is now our conference room. Our old conference room is actually going to be our alternative setting room. That's where if students need to be removed from the classroom for a class period or longer, they will be in there and attended by Mrs. Hall, who will still continue to do attendance. Previously, they had students in this study hall, and it was disruptive for the kids that were in there maybe doing Apex or wanting to study. There's not that many kids that go in there for the alternative setting, but we just felt a better place would be to have them in a different location. Our SRO and our mental health therapist are now in the main office so that they can work closely with administration and our guidance department. So just some changes that needed to be made to help be a little more efficient. We also have some new policies that we put into place just to empower our students a little bit more, and just to kind of teach them some responsibility and how to help others. So at the end of each lunch period, we're having the kids wipe down the tables so that it's ready, because our lunches just are back to back. When one ends, the others are coming in, and we just try and make it fun for them, like who has the most animals, you get to wipe the table. And it really actually helps them to get to know each other as well a little bit more. It's just trying to make it a little fun. We also have a holding area in the morning. We had like a 15 to 20 minute span of when kids are getting dropped off in the morning till when they go to their lockers in class. And, kids were maybe wandering the building or not just kind of hanging out in a different area without being able to maybe talk to others. So we have like juniors and seniors now in the cafeteria, and they can, interact with one another, and then 7 through 10 in the gym, and they're able to just kind of talk with each other. They can still be on their phones, but it's neat to be able to see them interacting with one another instead of just kind of being off by themselves. And then our no cell phone policy that we have put into place in classrooms, so they don't need their cell phones during class. They have their Chromebooks. So, and actually, the kids, I've heard a lot of positive comments, even from our kids, like, oh, we're able to focus the whole time when we're in there. And I know that before there was a lot of maybe like kids that were getting on and doing some cyberbullying, Snapchat and all those kinds of things. Once in a while that would occur, but I've heard positive feedback from our teachers as well. So that's a good thing. We held Safety Week, the first week of school, where we just went ahead and had all of our drills in 1 week. Normally, each month we have like a different drill or the fire drill, and so we thought it was important to make sure we had all of those that first week so that kids, especially new students, knew exactly what to do for a tornado instead of waiting for, tornado month. And the same thing with like our lockdown Alice drill, so that they knew right away. Just having all those, and then coordinated with the elementary as well for our bus evacuation too. So that was really successful as well. So that's it for us.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
For the cell phone policy, how are you enforcing that? Do they leave them at the door, or how does that work?
Our slogan, so to speak, is if we see it or hear it, we'll take it.
Okay.
And we just put it like on the teacher's desk, and they can get it at the end of the class period. And we really have not, there's some teachers have little pockets that they can put it in if they want to. But honestly, the kids have just they just keep it either in their pocket or in their locker. There really hasn't been, no one has been, knock on wood, written up or anything like that. And so, yeah, it's worked out well.
Good to hear.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that. Athletic Director Barry Singray.
Good evening. Just a few updates since we last met in June. Our new steps have been installed at the football stadium. That project's complete, hopefully a little bit safer and a little less steep. And then also in an effort to continue our branding and updating sort of the appeal of our facilities, we've ordered new windscreens for football, and then we are ready to order our new windscreens for softball as well this fall. So once that's done, every outdoor facility will have their windscreens on a rotation. That way we can maintain them every few years, one at a time, and not get hit with 3 or 4 at the same time. So also, we got the new track, obviously, 2 years ago. We've also placed an order for a new track cover, 2 new track covers for the home and away side that will, one, protect our track a little bit better, and then also it'll have Whitko branding on it, so it'll bring a little more color to our football field and our track area. Athletic schedules, obviously fall sports have started. All fall schedules are finalized, and they can be found on the Whitko Athletics webpage through EventLink. we'll continue sending our weekly email to everyone in the corporation and also all our families who have athletes through Final Forms. Athletic program updates, just a few things. JV and varsity volleyball have their first match tomorrow night at Lakeland Christian, and then their first home match will be Thursday at 6 p.m., actually 6:15 p.m. at home versus Columbia City. Varsity football had their scrimmage last week. They will have their first game this Friday versus Prairie Heights at home. The game will kick off at 7 p.m. We also plan to recognize our TRC championship winning teams from last year, our girls basketball team and our girls track team at halftime of Friday's game. And then just a couple other upcoming dates. Obviously, we'll continue sending more out as the fall goes on, but homecoming will be on September 27th, and then on September 13th, we have an alumni group coming in to do a celebration that night as well. Try to do as many events as we can to bring as many people to the games as we can. We'll also have our feeder program night and our senior night coming up as well, but we'll share all that as it comes. Feeder program updates, flag football and youth volleyball forms have all been sent out. Those are coming in, and those leagues will begin in September. And then lastly, just want to thank the Booster Club. On August 10th, they hosted our Whitko Athletics golf outing. Went really well again. It was an excellent day. We had great weather. They couldn't have done a better job, so just want to thank them for that. And then also thank them for some recent donations and uniform purchases. Our junior high track, junior high volleyball, and high school volleyball uniforms were all purchased recently through the Booster Club, so just want to thank them for that. So, any questions?
Very good.
Thank you. Director of Operations, Rhonda Snavely.
Good evening. Starting with transportation, we have 2 new drivers. Shelly Montague got her CDL probably about a month ago. She's going to be our backup to the backup, just for emergency use only. Nate Imhoff, he came to us late summer and said he wanted to drive a bus, and in a matter of 3 weeks he was licensed. So that was really awesome, and it just so happened that we had a driver resign and leave the week before. Natalie Kyler has returned to full-time driver this year. That's a big bonus for us. We're glad to have her back. As of now, we have all routes filled. We had 4 subs in the seat the first day of school, which was a really rough start. Fortunately, our subs were seasoned subs, and they did a great job. We're going to be working with our drivers the next few weeks to get routes updated as far as what students are riding, what are a couple have already been in yet this week. We're going to be working to get Traversa and Power School talking. For transportation, that is huge. We're working on the radios as well. We did participate in a special needs training at Willie County Consolidated last Tuesday. They had invited us to one of their workshops that they had for their drivers, and it was a really good training, a lot of good information, and they had hands-on training, so that was really good too. Maintenance, we're trying to get all of our positions filled still. We have our buildings and grounds that's still open and has been open for quite a while. Our new playground is installed at South Whitley Elementary, and we just have a few things to tweak on that. One of the main things on my list is organizing all of our contracts and our term dates. I'll also be working on capital projects. And the construction project, in the last few weeks, they've been working on the restrooms in D-Wing, the old ones. They've installed the new drains. They're just waiting for the fixtures and the sinks to come in. The water main has been moved, and that is completed, and that went very smoothly. I was pleased with that.
The next 2 weeks, they're going to start painting the ceilings and the block wall, and they're going to start setting the windows. They are open for anybody that wants to come in and tour. They just ask that you make an appointment and so they can be prepared, because there are some open areas and some dangerous spots, so they want to take care of all that before they have people walk through. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Director of Special Services, Carrie Walmer.
Evening. We've had a lot of movement within the first couple weeks of school, with approximately 30 incoming special education students across the district. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes things that have to happen during this process to get records transferred between buildings, and then to make sure our compliance timelines are met. I just want to give a special shout out to Sally Gilbert. She's the administrative assistant for our department that has spent a lot of extra hours outside of her typical day to make sure that everything is there for us and ready to go. This afternoon, I met with a transitions consultant for Whitley County to discuss the opportunity about bringing pre-employment transition services through Easter Seals into our secondary buildings. This is an exciting partnership for us to ensure that our students have access to meaningful career planning, and then to also help with the movement from high school to employment, or just straight into post-secondary employment opportunities. As far as staffing, we still have a current opening for a developmental preschool teacher, but aside from that, all of our other positions have been filled. Do you have any questions? No?
Thank you, Carrie. Director of the Whitko Early Learning Center, Rachel Hardy.
First, I want to start off by giving a special shout out to the food service staff. They've been so helpful with our breakfast and lunch transitions this year. It's definitely changed the atmosphere and the dynamic in the classroom. They're all wonderful. So far, we've had a really great start of the school year. We're fully staffed in all the rooms that we have open. Like Carrie had mentioned, we are still looking for a developmental preschool teacher. For the moment, we have moved one of our teachers into that room, and she's doing a really great job with that transition. We are still looking at opening our threes room. We're hoping to have that open by January. Due to a low number of students, the threes interest has grown, so we're hoping to have that in January, and we will still, by then, we'll have to have another teacher to put into that spot. With our curriculum, last time we had talked, I said that we were in the process of looking for it. We have purchased the curriculum, and it should be here within 5 to 7 business days. So I'm working on getting classrooms set up to get the teachers on our online, to have online access so that we can get pre-assessments for kids, and we'll be able to track their progress throughout the year, which is exciting. And this curriculum is state approved. And then, so we are looking at having our curriculum training September 14th for our preschool and pre-K teachers. And our infant and toddler teachers will be getting trained by our shared service partnership that we recently obtained over the summer as well. She will be going into the classrooms and assisting with that. As far as grants, we are in the process of applying for an infant toddler playground. We're looking to update it and make it larger so that it's more accessible to the kids. Missy Reese with Launchpad has helped us develop the budget, and she's helped us with getting everyone lined up to get that going. We received a KEYS grant through the Community Foundation, which will allow us to purchase more supplies, craft supplies, board games for our before and after room. We received a DECO Foundation grant to be able to implement more STEAM supplies within our classrooms as well, which is exciting. We'll be able to use those through our small group instruction. We are in the process of, utilizing our employee-sponsored grant. Over the summer, we were able to use part of that funding to get our 3 rooms fully furnished and approved. and that meant that our licensing was updated with the amount of students that we could take in. This grant also allows us to give 50% off of tuition for all teachers within Whitko Community School corporations who are in the process of applying for all of that. Upcoming trainings that we have, our staff will go to a conscious discipline training on September 27th. And then, like I mentioned previously, our curriculum training will be September 14th. We also have 5 additional staff members who are in the process of earning their CDA as well.
Thank you. Alternative Services, Caleb Logan.
Good evening. This summer, we went through a transition process, and we moved all of our alternative learning programs from using both Apex and Edmentum to exclusively using Apex Learning for all of our alternative programs. With that, we had to extend our licensing agreement. We now extended that from 50 student seats to 100 student seats, which in turn will be able to help us actually service more students than both programs before. Apex is being used in addition to here at the Whitko Alternative School and with our homeschool pathway. Mrs. Clark and I have worked together to now offer a lot of credit recovery and supplemental learning opportunities for students at the junior, senior high school through the use of the study hall rooms, and then in addition to some classes that students might not get due to the nature of our junior, senior high schedule. I'm currently in the process of preparing our alternative education program renewal application that's due September 30th. That process allows us to maintain our status as an approved alternative school, and also opens us up for the alternative education grant allocations. And probably my best news, as of this past Friday, through 6 days of school, we had 59 students utilizing alternative learning in some capacity, and we'd earned 9 high school credits for the 24-25 school year already.
Wow.
Any questions?
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. And finally, Technology Curriculum and Testing Schedule, Teresa Neppel.
Good evening. For technology, all summer our tech crew have been preparing student devices as well as updating teacher desktop computers at various buildings. During this time, the tech also went through chain of command, changing from one leader to another. They have been working with Winona IT. The group has been working through their roles and responsibilities as we get into the first year, the 24-25 school year. With changes come bumps and bruises. Because the second day of school, we had all the student passwords were reset. Unfortunately, it was considered a controlled chaos. And the good news, by the end of the first full week, we had most of the students' passwords, K through 12, and devices were up and running. Going forward, our crew definitely learning to communicate with Winona IT and Winona IT with our crew. So they're going to work through the rules and responsibilities, and patience is the key to have grace and patience for our technology crew as we go forward. With curriculum, we are entering the second year with ARC. ARC is our American Reading Company for grades K through 8. Teachers and administrators have ongoing training throughout this year, once again. But we've noticed our K2 teachers have noticed that the phonics program has been kind of weak. So per their direction, we are going to supplement using UFly. UFly is University of Florida Literacy Institute, the curriculum K through 2 in all buildings. It's a phonics program that introduces students to the fundamentals of reading skills necessary for proficient reading. It also follows a carefully developed scope and sequence designed to ensure that students systematically acquire each skill needed and learn to apply each skill automatically and with confidence. At grades 7 and 8, the art program is driven or is actually driving the language arts classes. Their classes range from 75 to 90 minutes in length. During that time, students are independently reading, meeting in small groups based on their individual reading levels, as well as receiving group instruction with teacher read aloud material at that expected level. At grades 9 through 12, when it comes to reading, this year the administration has added additional reading support by utilizing Laura Farlow, who will provide extra reading support for the gen ed students at the high school level. Our high school language arts teacher, Molly Long, will be extending strategies and common vocabulary that's being taught in the art program at the junior high, and they're going to incorporate it and carry it into the high school language arts departments. And then, of course, our AP and our dual credit courses, they are up and running. Our high school counselor has been meeting with all the Ivy Tech driven courses and setting the students up for their current accounts. With testing, as a district, Whitko is one of the 70% of Indiana schools that are piloting the Math iLearn checkpoints for grades 3 through 8 this year. Instead of taking one end-of-the-year test, the Math iLearn will be split into 4 smaller tests, ranging between 25 to 30 questions given throughout the year. Math teachers grades 3 through 8 have been given the checkpoints framework spreadsheet containing the specific standards and the time frames when the assessments will be given. Being that it's a pilot year, our teachers and students are going to be able to experience and prepare for the new testing schedule for next year, the 25-26 iLearn process. When we talk about NWEA, the technology hiccup has kind of pushed some of our buildings' NWEA testing for fall back about a week. We did that, well, with the technology hiccup of the passwords and such, but also giving teachers and students a chance to establish classroom routines the first full week of school. So our fall NWEA will be given sometime this month in all buildings. And as a reminder, the fall scores, they are a baseline. During the summer, it's common for the numbers to drop a little from the spring, and then we use the winter and the spring to show the display of growth throughout the year. Any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to 4.0, which is the donation update. Dr. Eddington, I'll turn that over to you.
Thank you. We have 5 donations this evening, one for $2,115 from Deco Foundation for STEM enrichment at the Early Learning Academy. Another from Deco of $7,450 for the Whitko Strummers at the Whitko Junior Senior High, and those are headed to be ukuleles, I believe, so that will be interesting. Yes. $5,496 from the Whitko Booster Club to support athletics. $1,000 from Chad Ebbinghaus Medtronic Foundation Volunteer Grant Program, and that supports the junior senior high baseball team. And $3,875 from Benevity to the robotics club. So we appreciate that, and robotics will be off to a great start.
Thank you, Dr. Eddington. We certainly do appreciate all those donations. 5.0 is public comments on agenda items. We do not have any this evening, so we'll move on into 6.0, which is business reports and consent agenda. You have an extensive list, and I'm sure you've all gone through those. We went through these Wednesday evening as well during our work session. So I would entertain a motion to accept these, please.
I move to accept the business reports and consent agenda as presented. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Do we accept the business reports and consent agenda as presented? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your right hand. Aye. And those opposed? Motion passes. In new business tonight, we have a presentation by our business manager, Lynn Leininger. This is regarding the 2007 buyout bonds.
The board has the paperwork in front of you. I'm just going to kind of summarize for this meeting what that paperwork looks like. The discussion regarding item 7.1 on the agenda tonight was originally agreed upon language as part of the 2009 school teacher contract. The language is carried forward and is included in the current 2023-2025 school board teacher contract. It is located in Article 4, Section C3, subsection 2. It applies to certified employees hired prior to July 1st, 2000, and covers by condition of the retirement buyout that occurred during the 2008-2009 school year. Back in 2000, the state recognized that several school corporations had unfunded pension retirement plans. In other words, schools are not going to be able to fund all of their future teacher retirement payments. So the state stepped in and they allowed for a time period in the early 2000s to have schools conduct an actuarial study to try to fix the problem. Whitko was one of those school corporations that participated in the program. In order to calculate the buyout, each certified teacher hired prior to July 1, 2000 had an individual present value calculated for their future benefits. So the actuarial study took their future retirement estimate, what that was going to be when they retired, and calculated it back to present value and put that into each one of their accounts. These initial deposits were funded by a pension bond that the school could issue to meet all those unfunded liabilities. So at that point in time, everybody that was hired as a teacher before July 1, 2000 had a retirement account set up for their retirement benefits. Teachers who were part of this original buyout, as long as they were fully vested when they retired, would receive the future value estimate of their actual retirement on the date of their retirement. So to become fully vested, the teachers who retire has to meet the requirements of Article 4, Section C1 of the current contract, which states first a teacher has to have 15 years of experience in the Whitko Community School Corporation and qualifies for retirement under retirement guidelines of the Indiana State Teacher Retirement Fund. Any person of the retirement buyout group who leaves employment with Whitko and does not meet those two requirements would have to forfeit their individual account balance back to the remaining active participants of the buyout group. The forfeiture calculation was last done August of 2022. $33,030.17 was forfeited to the remaining 23 active participants at that time. Since that calculation, up until the end of the 23-24 school year, 7 Whitko employees have ended employment that were originally part of the buyout plan. All 7 Whitko employees that have left since the last calculation were fully vested in the buyout plan when they left employment, according to the guidelines set up to be fully vested. And thus there's no forfeitures to report at this time to the school board. Any questions on that?
Thank you, Lynn. So I would entertain a motion to accept the approval of the business report that Lynn just gave to us regarding the buyout.
I move that we approve the forfeiture transfer related to the 2007 buyout bonds.
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the forfeiture transfer related to the 2007 buyout bonds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. And raise your right hand. Aye. And those opposed? The motion passes. 7.2 is the approval of field trips. I would entertain a motion to approve those, please.
I move that we approve the field trips as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the field trips as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. In old business, 8.1, we have the second reading and the final approval of school board policies 0100, definition of terms, 5136, personal communication devices, and 5200, attendance. Could I get a motion to accept those readings, please?
I move that we accept those readings as presented.
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the readings for the policies as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion passes. 8.1, the second reading and final approval of naming the school superintendent and human resources generalist compliance officers at Whitko Community School Corporation, located right here at 710 North State Road 5, Larville, Indiana, with a contact number of 260-327-3677, and any and all school board policies. Specifically, these policies are 1422, 2260, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity, 1422.02, 4122.02, non-discrimination based on genetic information of the employee, 1662, 3362, 4361, 5517, anti-harassment, 3122, 4122, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity, and 1623, 2260.01, 3123, 4123, Section 504, ADA prohibition against disability discrimination in employment. Could I get a motion to accept all of those policies as presented?
I move that we accept the second reading and final approval of these policies. I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the second reading and final approval of the above policies as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. And raise your right- Aye. Motion passes. Dr. Eddington, do you have any miscellaneous administrative items?
Yes, I do. First, I would like to thank those administrators for their reports. You have been busy this summer, even though some not working every day and completing so much. Your reports were just great to hear. And thank you. This gift came from somewhere in that direction. Appreciate that. So we were off to a good start. We had school on a Friday to begin with students, and then last week for 5 days and today. So 7 days of school are completed here, and thank you for that. The phone didn't ring with students not picked up by buses or other issues of that sort. So appreciate all that you do. The enrollment is, the initial enrollment is down a student or so per grade level across the district. That's average and at this time. And would like to jump back to orientation for new teachers. Those 2 days were great for new teachers to get acclimated to our school district, and appreciate everyone who was part of that. Teacher Day was good to get together and be able to get everybody in one place. That happens just twice a year. And the first Student Day was blissfully uneventful, so thank you. It was good to be in schools. That last week is fire drills, tornado drills, intruder drills, and then bus drills were happening. It's good to start off with those so students know what is happening that way. Our extracurricular assignments are all but filled, and thanks to those staff members and community people who have stepped forward and work with our children in addition to during the school day. speaking of our staff, I was happy to see an email having to do with staff health and a time in the next month for blood draw, blood pressure reading, and a flu shot, and to have that without having to leave your school. Wonderful to happen. Letting you know we're cleaning out and checking the couple of greenhouses here on site and working through that. Appreciate the work being done in that direction. I can't say enough about Justin and Nick. They're hiding up in their booth and their work with Winona IT getting things done. I did see a list today of those items that had gathered already, in addition to a prior day or so, but they are busy and appreciate what you have done this summer and the hard work and long days and weekends with that. So it was just neat to see how we are learning to adapt. And I still don't know what U-Fly is that you were talking about, but I will learn. You approved as a board the bond sale that happened last Thursday and is completed, and that will finish off the junior senior high school addition and renovations to the area for 6th and 7th grade, and along with a few smaller projects. So it's been a busy start of the school year, but a good one, and just appreciate being here and being a part of things. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Addington. On 10.0, we have public comments on non-agenda items. School board members will hear public comments about topics not on the agenda. Attendees must register their intention to participate in this portion of the meeting upon their arrival at the meeting, and individuals will have 3 minutes to speak. And tonight we have Mary Helen Gensch signed up.
Good evening, and thank you so much for allowing this opportunity to share with you. I am Mary Helen Gensch, and this begins my 31st year teaching at Pierceton Elementary School. I try to follow the Whitko information that's going on to just be staying abreast of that as a teacher, as well as being a community member. With that said, at the last work session on Wednesday, the topic of the full-time sub was mentioned, and I would like to address this important role from a teacher's perspective. The sub shortage is still a huge stressor. I cannot speak for the Whitko Junior Senior High School or the South Whitley Elementary School, although I would assume that they may be having some of the same similar problems that we are. With this shortage, last year we had Laura Thongenpie was our full-time sub for the last 2 years actually, and was used as a sub most days. My estimate would be 9 out of 10 over the 2-week time period. Even when she's not filling in as a sub, we had even when she was a sub, we had other vacancies that happened. At the elementary level, when the subs are not available, support staff, such as the special ed, resource teachers, assistants, myself in Title I, and the master teacher, we are used to cover those classes for a half day to a full day. When this happens, the students we were to support didn't receive their normal daily intervention. Laura was a huge asset. If she didn't cover a class, we had a schedule for her to support targeted students in certain classrooms. I realize that the cost difference is there, but this benefit helps supports the learning that is so crucial right now. We could count on having at least one sub each day. If you do not keep the full-time sub, then your resource personnel is going to be used even more. So please continue allowing the schools to have a full-time sub position. This support would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your input on that. Appreciate that.
And if you can find them, send them. We're looking, yes.
All right, in miscellaneous school board items, the school board will meet for a work session on Wednesday, September 11th. This time will be at the junior senior high in the media center at 4 p.m. And the regular school board meeting is Monday, September 16th at 6:30 right here in this room. At this time, we are going to take a 5-minute break for the board to go get a drink. If anyone else needs to use the restroom, restrooms are in the main lobby out here. Let's meet back here. Let's see, about 7:25. Nick, could you make sure that mic is on, please?
Testing.
Thank you. All right, we are going to now consider agenda item number 12. I will be acting as the chair of this proceeding. Present with us right now is Board Counsel John Mays from Bose McKinney and Evans LLP. Mr. Mays is not a voting member of the board, but is advising the board on legal matters and facilitating this proceeding as well. Also present representing Whitko Community Schools regarding certain tort claims is insurance assigned counsel Matt Hinkle. This proceeding is being held at the written request of the Whitko Classroom Teachers Association under the grievance procedure and the collective bargaining agreement with the teachers. I understand that the WCTA is represented by Mr. Eric Hilton of Riley Bennett Egloff LLP. Ms. Rumble has consented to this grievance being heard at a public meeting. The purpose of
the grievance is by the Whitko Classroom Teachers Association?
Yes, the Whitko Classroom Teachers Association. That's what's on here. The purpose of this is to provide the WCTA an opportunity to be heard. We will start with the WCTA, and it will have the opportunity to present materials and witnesses. The WCTA will have 30 minutes to be heard, and then we will pause for questions of the WCTA at the end. We will then hear from the administration. Mr. Hilton, you may begin.
Thank you again. As you mistakenly said, this grievance is brought by the Whitko Classroom Teachers Association, not by an individual teacher, so that's disappointing that it will start out that way. We first call Tom Eddington as a witness.
Do you have his consent to voluntarily
Mr. Eddington,
attend?
are you willing to testify in this grievance procedure as the responder on the grievance pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement? Did you answer the grievance in the collective bargaining agreement? And you're refusing
Mr.
to
Hilton,
testify
we could,
on behalf of the grievance procedure?
Mr. Hilton, we could keep moving. He's declined, and so we're just going to move forward.
So pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement, we have a right to present our grievance. The school corporation, we filed a grievance. Dr. Tom Eddington responded to the grievance. It is critical for purpose of an upcoming lawsuit and judicial review that we have Dr. Eddington testify as to the reasons he denied the grievance in this case. It is absolutely critical that he be a witness in this case. As a board, are you saying that he is not going to testify for the school corporation?
He's declined, and
I don't think he can decline. It's a grievance hearing. We have a right to call him.
we've asked for legal authority on that.
It's a bargain for contract provision that we have a right to call witnesses. So you're refusing to testify, Dr. Eddington?
I think he's answered that question.
Are you refusing to testify?
I think he's answered that question.
Okay, I call Antimony Fox as our next witness. Up there, and they'll give you a microphone.
Ms. Fox, if you could raise your right hand.
We don't have to swear the witness. That's not part of the procedure, John.
She's not going to affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You just had a witness refuse to testify. Now you're going to swear them in under oath.
Okay. So
thank you.
She's not willing to affirm that she'll be telling the truth?
You're not even requiring witnesses to testify. Now you're going to put somebody under penalties of perjury in a grievance procedure.
Okay, you said testified, so that typically refers to under oath, so.
It also allows us to call witnesses, and you refuse to let your witness testify.
She can give a statement, not affirming that she's telling the truth, the whole truth, and proceed.
Ms. Fox, do you agree to answer my questions truthfully?
Yes.
Can you state your name for the record?
Antimony Fox
And where are you employed, Ms. Fox?
at Whitko Junior Senior High School.
And how long have you been employed by Whitko?
This is my 11th year.
Are you a member of the Whitko Classroom Teachers Association?
Yes,
What is your current position?
I'm the president of the association.
And what positions have you held in the past?
I've previously been the treasurer as well as a Red for Ed leader.
Have you been actively involved in the Classroom Teachers Association since you were hired?
Yes.
And have you been involved in bargaining with collective bargaining agreements?
Yes, for about 8 years.
Are you also a member of the Sick Leave Bank Committee?
Yes, as the president, I'm the de facto chairperson.
And who are the other members of the committee?
That would be Teresa Nepple and Carmen Sterling.
And are they also teachers?
Yes.
Have the exhibits been passed out to the board members that we're going to go over?
No.
Okay, would you pass those out, please? Pass copies down to the witness as well, please.
Here's C. Oh, we don't have it.
That's good.
We have them now.
Thank you. You've been handed what's been marked Exhibit A. Can you identify that document?
This is the grievance that I filed on June 6th regarding the request for sick bank days by a staff member.
And does this grievance accurately state the association's position for the alleged violation of the collective bargaining agreement?
Yes.
Next, you've been handed a document that's identified as Exhibit B. Do you see that document?
Yes.
Can you identify that document, please?
This is the response that we received from the grievance for level 2 from Dr. Eddington denying the sick leave.
And is Dr. Eddington the superintendent of the school corporation?
Yes.
And so he was the one that specifically wrote the response to the school board's grievance, or to the association's grievance?
Yes, it's signed by him.
Okay. And then you've also been handed a document that's labeled Exhibit C. Can you identify that document?
That is the 23 through 25 collective bargaining agreement between the Whitko Community School Board and the Whitko Classroom Teachers Association.
And were you involved in bargaining this collective bargaining agreement?
Yes.
So if you could turn to page 6 of the collective bargaining agreement. And, you know, as we discussed, this grievance dealing with the sick leave bank, Could you, under paragraph 2, the second paragraph that starts teachers will, can you read that provision, that
Yes.
paragraph?
Teachers will be automatically enrolled in the sick leave bank as provided in Appendix C. Any teacher may enroll in the sick leave bank during an open enrollment period. This period will begin on the first day of school each year and extend through September 30th of each year.
Why was this paragraph bargained into the collective bargaining agreement?
We believe that it's an important benefit for our teachers to be able to have access to a sick leave bank in case of illness.
And why is that important in terms of them being automatically enrolled?
It's the beginning of the year, and so a lot of times new teachers get sick. They have a lot going on, and so they don't necessarily have all of the knowledge at the beginning of the year to know, oh, I need to do this. And so if they're automatically enrolled, then they don't have to worry about it, and they have that benefit.
And then can you turn to page 25 of the collective bargaining agreement? And can you read under structure, part A, the first sentence of that provision?
Teachers may
Or
elect...
the one that says the bank is formed.
Okay. The bank is formed by voluntary participation and voluntary donations of 1 day personal sick leave by personnel.
Is there anything a teacher needs to do or sign to make a voluntary donation to the sick leave bank?
No.
And who deducts the day from their total?
The HR department.
So the teacher has, am I correct, the teacher has no ability to go in and voluntarily contribute a day on their own, is that correct?
Correct.
And then could you read paragraph A1 of the sick leave bank provision?
Teachers may elect to participate in the sick leave bank program each year during open enrollment, which will be from the first day of school until September 30th of each year.
And then also read paragraph 6.
Personnel employed by the school corporation after the annual enrollment period has passed shall have 10 days from the date of employment in which to decline membership in the bank.
And then going back to the teachers being able to elect participation during open enrollment, what is the purpose of that paragraph?
That allows anybody who's declined to participate previously to then change their mind and then be able to join in a further year.
So if they affirmatively opt out of the sick leave bank at the very beginning, they can then join in a later year, is that correct?
Yes.
And then what about going to paragraph 6? When was the teacher at issue for purposes of this grievance hired?
February of 2020.
So the person was employed after the annual enrollment period had passed, is that correct?
Correct.
So that provision would apply to them?
Yes.
So is it your position that that individual was automatically enrolled in the sick leave bank?
Yes.
And then if you look at Exhibit D, can you identify that document?
This is the sick leave bank form that is included in all the new hire packets.
And is this from what your understanding is each year that beginning teachers are provided this form?
Yes.
And it says from 2019 to 2021. Does that cover the period of time in which the teacher at issue was hired?
Yes, it does.
Did the teacher at issue ever opt out of the sick leave bank?
No.
Did the school corporation ever provide documentation showing that the teacher opted out of the sick leave bank?
No, they did not.
Did you ask for that documentation?
Yes.
Who did you ask from? Who did you ask to get that documentation?
The HR department, both Vicki Camden and Denise Porter.
And did the school corporation ever provide you that documentation?
No, they did not.
If teachers do not sign Exhibit D, opting out, are they automatically in the sick leave bank?
Yes.
How many sick days do teachers get per school year?
If they're a first-year teacher, they get 10, and then anything after that, they get 7.
And can teachers go into the payroll system and add those 10 or 7 days?
No, they cannot.
And how is this done?
HR adds them.
And similarly, can a teacher deduct 1 day and submit it to the sick leave bank on their own?
No, they cannot.
And how is that done?
HR does that as well.
So if you go back to Exhibit C, which is the collective bargaining agreement, If you turn to page 26, you see that? At the very top, that paragraph C, can you read that? That's part of the collective bargaining agreement.
The administration of the bank will be vested in the sick leave bank committee.
And then can you read the last sentence of paragraph B3, also on page 26?
Action to grant sick leave days shall be reported to the Whitko School Corporation Human Resource Personnel.
And then finally, if you turn to page 27, kind of in the middle of that paragraph on sick leave bank committee, the sentence that says the association president, can you read that sentence?
The association president will act as a de facto
No,
member.
the one that says the association president will communicate, I'm sorry.
Oh. There we go.
The next one.
The association president will communicate with the superintendent and human resources personnel when the sick leave bank committee agrees on a situation.
And again, the sick leave bank committee is comprised of yourself and then 2 other teachers, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Did the sick leave bank committee receive an application for sick bank days regarding the teacher at issue in this case?
Yes.
And did pursuant to the paragraphs that you just read, did the sick leave bank committee report to Whitko Schools HR that the sick leave bank days should be granted?
Yes.
Did human resources then deny those days?
Yes.
Is there anywhere in the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, that gives HR the right to deny the days, or is the granting of the days completely up to the committee?
The granting is completely up to the committee.
Have you ever known the Human Resources Department to unilaterally go against the actions taken by the sick leave bank committee in granting days in the sick bank?
No, I have not.
So it's only been for this one teacher at issue in this case?
Yes.
Just looking briefly at Dr. Eddington's response to the grievance. Dr. Eddington, who, like I said, has refused to testify here tonight, it says, if you look down in the 3rd paragraph, and I'm not going to state the individual person's name, but prior to the person requesting need for leave under the sick leave bank program, Whitko received no indication that the teacher had elected to participate in the sick leave bank since her employment with Whitko began in February 2020. And is this a false statement in terms of what the contract requires?
Yes, because the contract would require the documentation showing that she had waived.
So you only have to fill out documentation if you're opting out, is that correct?
Correct.
And then it also says records since 2020 to the present also reflect that the teacher never donated a single day to the bank again. I think you testified, is it correct that there's no way for a teacher to affirmatively donate a day to the sick leave bank?
Yes, that is correct.
And then he states, during our July 1 meeting, you presented no evidence of the teacher's election to participate in the sick leave bank program, nor did you present any evidence that the teacher donated any sick leave days. Was this the type of evidence that you asked the HR department to provide to you to see whether the teacher had submitted the days or opted out?
Yes, I asked for the sick bank form to show that she had waived participation.
And they
did not have it.
And to this day, have they provided you any
No, they have
documentation?
not.
And then they go on to say, since the teacher had not donated a day, they're therefore they're not qualified to receive benefits from the program. And is that, the association disagree with that interpretation?
We do disagree.
Did the sick leave bank committee disagree with that interpretation?
Yes.
So that's all the questions I have for Ms. Fox. So I think as we sit here today, and it's greatly disappointing that we had the association had to file a grievance in this case for a clear violation of the collective bargaining agreement. We have a situation where never previously has the school corporation denied sick leave bank days when the sick leave bank committee has given their decision to grant those days. And the collective bargaining agreement is clear that the sick leave bank committee has the sole authority to make a determination about sick leave bank days and whether or not they're granted. Here, the sick leave bank clearly stated that they were awarding the days. That's where the analysis ends. It is then up to the school corporation to grant those days pursuant to the sick leave bank language in the collective bargaining agreement. Instead, for the first time that we have documentation of ever, the sick leave, the HR overruled the sick leave bank committee and denied sick leave bank days for this individual, which we'll talk about in our next grievance regarding some of the terms that that person brought forward. And this board denied that person days from the sick leave bank and has caused severe financial problems for that individual. So as we're here tonight, we're requesting that the school board overturn Dr. Eddington. Unfortunately, we don't have a chance to ask Dr. Eddington questions about the reasoning for the denial, which again is very disappointing as well, because we were hoping to come here tonight and be able to get some answers in terms of why it was denied, but unfortunately we've been denied that opportunity, which I think violates the contract as well. So we're asking that the school board ultimately make a decision to grant the sick leave bank days that have been requested by this individual, to comply with the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, to comply with the recommendation of the sick leave bank committee, and to award the days at issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. At this time, Lynn Leininger, could we get your report?
For the administration.
Yes, please, thank you.
Okay, I have a summary here of a timeline and what happened in this particular situation for the administration side of things. On May 7th,
As a foundational thing, was he involved in any of the decision making?
yeah, I'm the business manager of the school corporation.
You didn't.
I'm the direct supervisor. They did discuss it with me. On May 7th, the teacher in question requested leave, and Whitko granted that leave. The teacher in question exhausted all remaining sick and personal leave on May 10th, 2024. On May 16th, 2024, the teacher in question provided her request for unpaid leave under the Family and Medical Leave Act, which Whitko requested. On May 23rd, 2024, first request from the teacher in question requesting leave under the sick leave bank, which is governed by Article 4, Section A2, and Appendix C of the agreement between Whitko Community School Corporation and the Whitko Classroom Teacher Association. The teacher in question requested at that time 18 days of sick leave bank leave, but because she had sick and personal leave to use, the days without pay during the FMLA leave was going to be 14 and a half days. The CBA says in Appendix C, a teacher who does not voluntarily donate 1 day of sick leave is not qualified to receive benefits from the program. Appendix C of the CBA further states applicants must be a donating member of the bank prior to the time of need. Whitko has searched, and there are no records of the teacher in question donating a single day to the bank. Our search of records indicated the teacher in question is the only teacher to believe she is in the sick leave bank but never donated a sick leave day. Whitko denied the request, citing lack of donation of a sick leave day. During the grievance process, the teacher in question did not offer any proof she donated any sick leave days. When onboarding new staff, Whitko creates a form to aid in administration of benefits. That form requests the teachers to communicate if they wish to opt out of the sick leave bank, but the form does not underscore the clear CBA language regarding donation of days. The form itself is not part of the CBA, so Whitko can try to move on beyond this dispute, provide relief to the teacher who was on approved FMLA leave, and update the form. Whitko would like to recommend to the board to grant the WCTA's grievance as to the teacher in question, provide her with 15 and a half days of sick leave bank, leave from which one sick day would be donated to the bank, and the board approve a decision to this end. Any questions?
Thank you, Lynn. So to the board, I would say we have heard this, and I would accept a motion regarding agenda item number 12.
I make a motion to approve the WCTA grievance in part by providing Ms. Rummel with retroactive sick leave bank days of 15.5, with 1 day subtracted as a donation to the sick leave bank, and authorize legal counsel to prepare a decision of the board signed by the board president to accomplish this result.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the WCTA grievance in part by providing this teacher with retroactive sick leave bank days of 15.5 with 1 day subtracted as a donation to the sick leave bank, and authorize legal counsel to prepare a decision of the board signed by the board president to accomplish this result. Is there any discussion by the board? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? The motion passes. We will move on now to agenda item number 13. We will consider agenda item 13. I will be acting as chair of this proceeding. Present with the board is Counsel John Mays from Bose McKinney and Evans LLP. Mr. Mays is not a voting member of the board, but advising the board on legal matters and facilitating this proceeding as well. Also present representing Whitko Community Schools regarding certain tort claims is insurance assigned to counsel Matt Hinkle. This proceeding is being held at the written request of Ms. Rummel under the grievance procedure and the collective bargaining agreement with the teachers. I understand that Ms. Rummel is represented by Mr. Eric Hilton of Riley Bennett Egloff LLP. The purpose of this is to provide Ms. Rummel an opportunity to be heard. And Mr. Hilton, you have the floor.
Pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement that Section 5D, there's an exception to the grievance procedure that a claim can be brought directly to the board should a teacher feel that a grievance has occurred out of the application by a member of the administration staff of this school corporation of the board policy adopted by the board and the certified personnel section of the board policy manual. That such teacher shall be entitled to present said grievance to the board at its regularly scheduled meeting. The procedure does not in any respect prevent or alter the authority and power of the board to establish, alter, amend, or delete any such personnel policy as contained in said board policy manual. School Board Policy 3362 is titled Anti-Harassment. It states, "It is the policy of the school board to maintain an education and work environment that is free from all forms of unlawful harassment, including sexual harassment." The board's policy states, "For purposes of this policy and consistent with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, sexual harassment is defined as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature when submission to such conduct is made either implicitly or explicitly a term or condition of an individual's employment. Submission or rejection of such conduct by an individual is used as the basis for employment decisions affecting such individual and such conduct has the purpose or effect of interfering with the individual's work performance or of creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment. Pursuant to that policy, once the school corporation has received a claim of sexual harassment, there's a process they go through where they investigate and generally within 15 days issue a response and provide that to the individual. Despite claims having been made in May of 2024 of sexual harassment allegations against former Superintendent Tim Pavarnik, the school board has not followed board policy by investigating and providing a determination of the claims as required by the school board policy. As a result, we have been forced to bring this as a grievance through the collective bargaining agreement and expect an investigation and a decision. This information was, again, provided in May of 2024 that there had been sexual harassment, and pursuant to the school board's policy, there were all kinds of investigative procedures that the board is required to follow. I did see tonight that I think you approved appointing someone to serve as the compliance officer for certain situations, including policy 3362. My hope would be that since we have not received any decision or any findings based on the complaint made in May, that this new person that has been appointed will now conduct a full and thorough investigation and provide a response. So it's unfortunate that we had to get all the way through to do it through the collective bargaining process, but this is us formally bringing a grievance forward for a violation of the sexual harassment policy or the anti-harassment policy 3362 by former Superintendent Tim Pavarnik. Thank you.
Thank you. We will take this under advisement. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I move to adjourn. I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all.